Indigenous, transgender, and homosexual people are often called two-spirited. It is alleged they were highly revered in traditional Indigenous culture. Yet, the term two-spirit was only coined in 1990 by Elder Myra Laramie at the 3rd Annual Intertribal Native American First Nations Gay and Lesbian Conference in Winnipeg. Even then, many attendees did not believe such people had both a male and female spirit. In 2002, archaeologist Alice Kehoe noted, "At the conferences that produced the book Two-Spirit People, she heard several First Nations people describe themselves as unitary and not male nor female, much less a pair in one body. Nor was this duality in one body a common concept on reserves." In 2016, Ojibwe journalist Mary Annette Pember said the two-spirited concept was activist cultural appropriation. In her article Two-Spirit Tradition, Far from Ubiquitous Among Tribes, she said she was troubled by claims that Native peoples historically described LGBTQ people as two-spirited and celebrated them as healers and shamans because the claims were mostly unfounded or only partially true. She said simplified depictions of Native culture and history by activists perpetuated indiscriminate appropriation of Native peoples. Pember credits anthropologist Will Roscoe with popularizing the term two-spirit. Roscoe and his mentor, Harry Hay, were involved in a hippie counterculture gay men's group called the Radical Faeries. This non-native community emulated native spirituality. Neither Roscoe nor Hay was Indigenous. In the 1700s, Jesuit explorer Pierre-François Xavier de Charlevoix said, among the tribes of the Seven Nations, men were seen to wear the dress of women without a blush. It was pretended that this custom came from religion, but this religion had, like many others, taken its birth in the depravation of the heart. These effeminate persons never marry and abandon themselves to the most infamous passions, for which cause they are held in the most sovereign contempt. The Jesuits used the word Berdache for homosexuals and transgenders, a term now considered derogatory. Homosexual filmmaker Christopher Cole Minor of the Ho-Chunk Nation in Wisconsin told Pember that Two-Spirit was invented to give Indigenous LGBTQ people a term to take back their identities. Yet, Minor found no reference to such people among Ho-Chunk elders or scholars. "So much has been lost," he said. Minor recalled when he brought his male partner to a feast, he was told that he was flaunting his sexuality and instructed not to sit with his clan. He asked his elders what was going on, but they just shook their heads. Minor said he was so disappointed he hadn't returned since. Regardless, Roscoe claims 24 tribes had male homosexuals or transgenders, including Assiniboines, Blackfoot, Plains Crees, Lakota, Dakota, and Plains Ojibways. Only the Cheyennes recognized a female equivalent in the Hentaman. In the 1800s, Running Eagle of the Piegans wore male clothing in warfare, as did Woman Chief of the Crows, who had 4 wives. Ojibwe Anton Troyer, professor of Ojibwe linguistics at Bemidji State University, told Pember that sex usually determined one's gender, and therefore one's work, but the Ojibwe accepted variation. Men who chose to function as women were called Ikwekanazo, meaning one who endeavors to be like a woman. Women who functioned as men were called Ininyekaazo. Such roles were considered sacred, often because they were made based on spiritual dreams or visions. They defied cultural norms because a spirit told them to. Men dreamed they were doing the women's usual work of quilling, beading, and tanning. A Lakota man was exempted from war if a dream told him to live this way. Roscoe claims Lakota Berdaches were believed to foretell the future and conveyed luck by bestowing obscene nicknames. For the Pawnee, they made love magic. Among the Cheyenne, they arranged marriages. In the 1800s, George Catlin painted a Saucon Fox dance where a Berdache is the central figure surrounded by male lovers. Dakota warriors sometimes visited Berdaches before joining war parties, believing that such encounters made them more masculine and ferocious. Pember rightly said such examples are not enough to characterize the 130 indigenous cultures and more than 500 tribes in the US. She says the two-spirit idea owes itself more to New Age and popular ideals that paint an overly wide brush of indigenous culture, conveniently overlooking distinct cultural and language differences that native peoples hold dear. In their efforts to overthrow Western society, cultural Marxists find it convenient to say that homosexuals and transgenders were exalted in pre-colonial culture. However, the two-spirit term and many of its narratives are based more on politics than history.